I'm a believer. It's just you have to use it well.
Yeah, you have to use it well, and it would be interesting to see, you know, now that we've thrown that fact out there, is if it's actually that Falcons get their hands on a Selena. But again, you build the lineup around it, and you can go through there, because looking at the first phase bans here, they do take out a Granger. We do have Falcons on the blue side. This time we got Smart Omega on the red. So we'll see what the priority is going to be for Falcons. What do you think it's going to be this time around, Brigida?
Could it be a Harith here, since there's a Phobius ban as well? The Luis taken out, but that's like something you just can't allow to be there, but then they see ahead and don't allow the Harith to be taken here by Team Falcons. So could they possibly just revert back to the jungle trades here if ever they wanted to? And they will be deciding to go with the Joy. So for Omega, this time around, they could leave it for later. The Suyu could be just taken later, third, if they wanted to. Right now, I'm looking at either the Irithel's maybe too early to get picked up, so
Mathilda's open.
the Moskov.
That's a Big J pick right there.
Yeah.
So
That's Big J.
that's him. Like, I think he had some of his best performances in S14 on the
Oh,
Moskov.
they still get it. Okay. They pick up the Moskov and the Suyo, so Super Marco, I think he's free to just decide on whatever pick he wants to use for later, unless they want to really go for the Irithel right now. There's still the Eve is still there, if they wanted to go for that. But they have the Joy in their hands either way, so they go for the Irithel already. Okay.
And that was the Hilda. This was banned out in the previous game. So I think it was second phase, so it was banned out. This time around, though, yeah, they take the Irithel. And so now, really, when you look at Falcons, it's like, if they played the last lineup already that quick, this lineup with these three picks are quick, too, in terms of mobility, but obviously the Irithel, and that's what we saw the struggle being in the previous game for Smart Omega. Like, you need some time to build up on it.
And if this were to be an XP Hilda, just in case it is, like, how does Luis stop those fast rotations, right? Oh, but this is a very decisive roamer for Smart Omega. I like this better. We can potentially see a lot more plays being made across the map, and I'd like to believe it is going to be paired up with a high damage dealing mage as well. I'm not entirely sure if they'll be banning the Selena though, since the matchup too is pretty good.
Already between the Jawhead and this Suyo, that's a lot of damage.
That's
you know.
That's no, not just me, bro. That's we know.
That's an M6 special. The teams who played this duo,
we did this,
knows that you control a lot of the early camps if you do visit. But here's the thing. I like the Jawhead into the Hilda because you punish the vagrant Hilda. The one that's just randomly hiding in a bush. You throw it into the rest of your squad, and then she dies.
Right.
So it's a good pickup. Like, even Jawhead was banned in the same spot in game one.
But that's why I'm wondering if Falcons might do the same thing, where this Hilda pick, they could possibly flex it like they did with the Badang earlier on.
I hope not.
Like, what if, you know what I mean? Because we said that day one. And we saw it a couple times.
And it lost.
It did
it
lose.
lost.
It did.
Gloriously.
Well, I mean, they took out majority of like the threats too for the Jawhead right here. So they should be confident enough to pick up what's left in the mid lane. The Sicilian, the Valentina. Because even the Faramis is out.
There's
the Eve, the Farsas, if they really want to go for that. They're confident enough since they already have like some sort of playmaking hero in their hands too. But given their lineup, they still go for the Valentina. So even if Falcons decides to go for the Farce again, or the Eve even, that'd still be okay for Smart Omega.
This is also just really good because even, I mean, obviously you get your choice of ultimates, but just having that Terrify effect, let's say you go in for that, you know, ejector and you do toss someone up, keeps them there a little bit longer if you go ahead and, you know, stack up those CCs, if you will, and allows the Suyo to be able to make plays. Because some of that early pressure can just be in the side lanes early on, and those three heroes alone, when you're rotating in that trio roam combination, is good enough to get Suyo kills. So I think it's Smart Omega really wanting to emulate what Falcons did for Kyle Teasy in the previous game. You know, get the start going, get the ball rolling early on. So what is the answer? What's the response here from Falcons? It's going to be a Chip and an Eve.
Whoa, two major ultimates. Literally overwhelming Okir. in terms of choices.
You could say 3 with the electrifying beats.
Yep.
Right. So now for the Luis hero, which was left last, like what does he use to stop those quick rotations? What does he use to go head-to-head with Hilda? There's the CC that's still available, but they still decide to go for the Hylos.
Hylos XP?
Hylos XP.
When was the last time we saw that work? Legit question, like I forgot.
I mean,
It's been a while. It's been a while. I'm not saying it's never going to work. I'm just...
November?
I'm inquiring.
it's been a minute. We gotta ask the stat guy for that one. I know. Shout out to Redmar. Redmar's probably at home right now, looking it up, typing in his master stats. You know, but it's interesting that they go this way. But I do feel like I'm gonna lean towards the fact that I like what Smart Omega did for the draft, at least in Game 2. I think the tools or the pieces are there for them to go ahead and have a similar start than Falcons did in Game 1. The only thing is how do they actually respond to the fact that, yeah, there is a lot of ultimates for here, for Akira to go ahead and take. Not only that, but then you also have to be mindful of the chip. We have seen the chip fall off in the past, but we still are reminded why it's such a good pick when it does occasionally pop up.
Welcome to Mobile
There's
Legends.
no clear answer to the chip. Like, when Ogwin says it's go time,
It's go time.
Omega better be ready to go
Yeah.
time.
And if you'd want to think about picking up an AOE ultimate similar to the real world manipulation, you can't just immediately decide to use it when you're taken by surprise by those sudden Y-walks or shortcuts coming in from Team Falcons, and they're likely to do that. You have to position yourself if you were Okir. So if you decide to go with that, you'd have to take into consideration an ultimate you could use to respond to those surprise attacks, or if you wanted to be the playmakers this time, which is again mentioned in our keys to victory, then something that could complement that aggression.
Yeah, and while we wait for the teams here to get settled, of course, in the early rotations, just a quick reminder and heads up, you guys can go ahead and grab your tickets right now for next week's matches. Head over on the line to go ahead and find those and grab them because they do go fast. Now, looking at the emblems, Brig, anything sticking out to you?
Nothing too unusual. There's, again, the speed, the mobility taken into consideration for Flap, but Luis, it seems like his role here is just really mainly to tank all the damage, given the emblem combination. So I'm starting to see an idea of how Smart Omega really wants to take this by team fight, given the kind of emblems that they chose to go for and given the lineup. But then there's a drawhead too, so like they have multiple choices.
Luckily, Falcon's damage profile doesn't really threaten Lewis, at least until the late game. He can tank it.
Yeah, and that's fine. I mean, at this point too, it's a little calmer of a start, but Chaknu might be looking to try to catch Ogwin here.
Oh no! He's cornered, pops the Purify, forced to respond. Ogwin sitting there about a third of his health, as Lewis tries to pull out the turtle.
I think it's good though. Get that Purify out before this turtle fight.
Yeah.
Yep. He isn't 4 yet. Ogwin doesn't have his ultimate yet though. So they're just simply zoning each other prior to this turtle.
Both teams unsure if this is a turtle or not. Andoryu retreats to the orange buff. Ukir here gets blasted in front. Ogwin waiting for
there you go.
the full-on shortcut, pulls a trigger. This is enough to make enough space for Falcons to get that turtle. Kyle TZ scores.
That was beautiful zoning coming in from Flap TZ. Unlike Ogwin, deciding to clear a single XP lane minion and getting a hold of his ultimate by the time they were dancing around the turtle, Chaknu was being zoned out so well he wasn't able to gain any experience. So they weren't able to fight or contest that turtle that was controlled by Falcons.
It was peaceful deterrence. There was no violence. No blood was shed for this turtle.
And maybe that's the best, I mean, for both the teams right now, because even for Falcons lineup, right, we already talked about how they need some time to build up, and that might be part of the game plan. If they can avoid these fights that obviously Chaknu is going to be looking for on the Jawhead, then so be it. You know, don't let it break out into the fight if you don't have to, even though you have some of that early damage already, for example, for Kyle TZ. So just secure these objectives early on.
Yeah, they're avoiding it so much. We haven't seen any kills. Now that even we're nearing the 4-minute mark of the game. And if I'm not mistaken, was Omega the team to set the 10 minutes into the game, we still don't have kills game last season, and I think it happened pretty early on too.
Yeah, we've had a couple of those. I feel like, especially last season, but you know, this is more so the case too that Smart Omega, that they needed this. Oh, Chaknu.
Whoa, Kyle Teasy knew Chaknu was there. Power of wildness. Serving up a kill to Kyle Teasy. First blood drawn, and now the answer. A stolen real-world manipulation. Few flickers on out of there, denying Omega clapback.
So many resources used up by Smart Omega. The flicker from Chaknu, the ultimate from Okir, the stolen real-world manipulation. But still, they weren't able to take out Few.
Oh, inside the jungle, Omega faces off a shortcut once more. A peaceful invasion.
As much as it can be.
A polite theft of the buff.
It's literally like, hey, we're here. Thanks for the buff. Uh-oh, Jump.
Oh, Jome! Big J about to get squashed here by
Whoa!
And an SOD plus a flicker to deny that two-man gank. Moving up to the turtle. Omega collapsing down. Kyle Teasy with the steal! Highway robbery! Once more, politely.
Politely, as politely as it gets.
Everything's just politely being done by Falcons here. I don't know if like there was a well-timed stun coming in from Ogwen too, but that was just such a clutch retribution play coming in from Kyle Teasy.
Give me your turtle, please.
Give me your buffs, your turtles, and everything else, please. And what makes it funny is Joy is like the perfect hero for that to happen. Because you literally just, you know, step on in with your beats, you grab it and leave.
With max stacks, so you have the immunity, and then you get on out of there. Better than even Suyo, because Suyo has that moment, that window wherein if you get hit, you get hit.
Yeah.
But Joy can say, yeet.
Yeah, and they like have little to no resources to do that just yet, not unless Chaknu just really reserves those interruption skills. Luis isn't always together with them during the objective takes because Falcons just does it so fast. They do it so quick, aside the fact that they're able to always surprise Smart Omega. Even looking at the positionings here for Ogwen and Kyle Teasy, you cannot split up if you were Smart Omega. That'll be an easy target for Falcons, but just the same.
Flap Teasy welcomes 4 into that Y brush. Ogwen deep behind enemy lines. All right, there's no theft here.
Yeah, not going to happen this time. But it was, you know, Kyle Teasy pushing up on that tier 1 turret top side, gets that. He's just having a good old time. Like, he doesn't really have to join these fights, and that's one of the powers of the chip, right? You know that because when Ogwen decides, all right, I'm dropping down my shortcut, you can just have the whole party there if you want to. Yep. So he's going to put pressure elsewhere because he already knows. Again, he has that kind of, that freedom to do that against Smart Omega's lineup.
Yep, and the Falcons are just too quick to rotate. It's always Ogwen being the first to get hold of the important brushes. And even now, I'm pretty sure they have an idea that they're just standing right there, but oh, look at that damage.
From Few alone. Okir down to half health. That was but a poke.
So how will they be dancing around the turtle this time? They're being blocked off by Few with just those void crystals and void blasts.
Oh man, right now I'm sure Flap, if he could on this hill, that he'd be doing that pose just right in the faces of Luis and Chaknu, because that's just another objective which really can't be contested. I mean, and what's sad about it, if for Smart Omega, like, you have the jawhead, so your whole goal is to go ahead and get those pickoffs, but literally the only person that's been in range for Chaknu to catch is mostly Flap.
Yes.
Like, you're not going to, even if you toss Flap, he's just going to sprint away.
Yeah, because it's going to happen in the brushes.
And his itemization is perfect for what Omega brings. Lady, gentlemen,
look at him.
Anti-Karas and tough boots. And look, he's going to survive this. Real manipulation, stolen away, and he lives!
He's doing the flex right now.
What did I say? He lives!
And if they do decide to go for Ogwen, he has the Purify. So like there are so much limited options for Smart Omega to decide and engage in a team fight. Oh no!
Chaknu goes down, Flap Teasy finds one, and the rest of Falcons collapse on this tier 2 down bottom.
This is more along the lines of some surgical gameplay going on. And anytime you've got the chip, that's what you can do here.
This is vintage Falcons. Even as far back as when they were Falcons AP Bren, when they were AP Bren, they would just slowly collapse down onto you, strangle your resources, take you away from your farm.
Yeah. I can imagine him doing the pose each time he uses that sticker, but wait!
Glorious pathway by Lewis, unable to save Andoryu. He goes down. That's a kill from Marco, and the rest of Omega retreat.
That seems like supposedly a lot of ways for Smart Omega to slow down Falcons. But it isn't enough. Not even the glorious pathway, not even the real-world manipulations can prevent Falcons when they decide to go all in, when they decide to commit into a team fight.
So does that mean it's all on Jome?
It doesn't have to be, is the main point here for Smart Omega lineup, because again, if they were able to catch out Flap earlier on, you saw that they had close enough damage to kill him, but they just didn't cap out the kill, and that's again because of the fact that, you know, Ukir, when he takes that real world manipulation, maybe he's able to pump out enough damage, but look at the itemization. You know, he's too far behind right now to actually pump out that damage, so they're just going to lose this Lord as well.
Shortcut down bottom! Big J gets sandwiched by 4, and the rest of them retreat. All this while, Falcons was taking the Lord. There's nothing on the board for the barangay.
That was very unfortunate. Jome was just trying his best to farm. That was typical Moskov split push gameplay, but that was anticipated here by Ogwen, and it was an immediate response from the rest of the members of Team Falcons.
And going back to that question that Leo asked, is it all on Jome? Well, they don't want it to be there, and they're not going to let it happen. So, hey, a milestone for the Idol. Few now ranks 3rd in MPLPH all-time kills, 1356, surpassing Benny Cutie, and they're looking for more.
Falcons looking to penetrate. Glorious pathway set down by Lewis to help the rest of Omega retreat. You can almost feel Omega's nerves as Falcons circle around them in the sky, waiting to crash in. Holy Shield's taken down from mid and top.
Shield's already popping. So they're going to go ahead and work in with this Lord, at least looking to take maybe 1 or 2 turrets again. With this type of lead, like they did in the previous game, can Smart Omega defend it?
That's a stolen real manipulation. Ukir helps set up the defense. Lord, down to 1/10 of its health, will go down, saving that inhibitor.
Yep, it seems like a very disciplined approach from Falcons. They wouldn't want to risk having to fight under that turret with incomplete resources.
There's a real world manipulation coming in as the rest of Falcons bear down on this mid lane inhibitor. Omega's base penetrated, top lane up next on the docket. Chaknu gets hit by a Void Crystal, a Void Blast. In goes Kyle Teasy, popping the ult, clearing the wave, and the turret falls. Looking for the snapback. Here's Omega, the flicker, and the ejector. Chaknu goes down. Lewis finds Marco, though. A double kill for Kyle as Andoryu falls.
Andoryu falls. I mean, Chaknu finds the right mark, gets Super Marco, but again, what are they going to do off of that? They lost the 2 base turrets, and that's only that first Lord.
Yep, Falcons were already happy enough with what they were able to get during that entire sequence. They might even attempt to still go for this last inhibitor turret for Smart Omega, since they only lost the Super Marco either way, so they can still possibly push up the waves. And I mean, look at that zoning. They're just dancing around the members of Smart Omega. But fortunately for them, they're able to defend. And Jome, at this point, already has his Trinity build. So somehow they already have a bit of damage to dish out, but they have to be very, very careful.
I think at this point, it's more so what we just witnessed, right? It's like Smart Omega, most of their chances or most of the opportunities that they get are going to be from Chaknu deciding to go in and kind of like sacrifice his body. Like that's the story of a lot of roamers out there, and that's, you know, how it usually goes when you're this far behind. Now, not to say they can't turn this game around. We've seen some crazier things already in week 1.
Yep.
But it is looking a little dire, so they've got to be able to go ahead and catch up to where they need to be. And also, part of this is also, again, Ukir, how he's utilizing the ultimates that he's taking, and most likely it's been the real manipulation. Ogwen, though.
Ogwen sets up a shortcut. Here comes the cavalry. The nest unloads. Jome put down very low. Kyle Teasy was taking the Lord, and he responds. Lewis gets slain, and the rest of Omega retreat. They can't take this fight.
Oh, they want more?
It's not done. Ogwen sets up a CC. Not enough as the rest of Falcons want to take another lane.
There was already an adjustment. There were members watching Jome because they already had an idea that that could happen. But even despite that, it wasn't just a successful team fight for Team Falcons. It was an objective secured for them. They already have the Lord marching down the middle lane.
Once again, the power of the chip and that shortcut, and now it's Smart Omega, the barangay on the defense here.
An enhanced Lord crashing into the base, waiting to jump through. Oh, Chaknu looking low. Andoryu goes first. Chaknu survives, but not long enough to help quell this defense as Falcons get their first win in Season 15.